Good afternoon. Welcome on in to another episode of From Day One. Apologies, a couple of the episodes over the weekend were silent. Fortunately, I was actually in a hospital bed, and that was about the best I could record during those times. But today we have a Karen, maybe auditing herself. Let's begin.
It is in the matter of Richard Garcia and Mary Lopez. All right, thank you.
We're here separately. Michael Smith works as a private judge. He does private judging, and we're reporters. And the California Rules of Court 2.400 say that we have a right to see all the records that he uses in his private judging. And we have emailed him that we were going to come and ask for them. We're entitled to see them during business hours. So when he keeps
Look at this poor woman. She's basically a receptionist. She's in an office space, and you'll see there's just a bunch of attorneys in there doing their practice and various things. Apparently, this guy is a private judge, and apparently that's a real thing. I'm not familiar
in California
with it.
It is, Mikey.
case files and other records related to private judging, we're going to need to be able to see those records. So where are those kept? Do you know?
He runs his own business.
So what? He rents an office space. He just rents an office space, and then he puts his card out here, and he puts his addresses here, but he's never here.
Yeah, you got it. And it's a very typical arrangement these days. There's nothing wrong with it.
You are correct.
Don't forget to hit like. The boys would really appreciate it.
Yes, my
Unless you have
boys would
something
too,
against Frankie
especially
Nally.
Lulu.
He pops in once in a while.
He pops in once in a while?
Yeah, he does most of his business.
So you understand that if there is a court and you're a judge, I can walk into a courthouse,
She doesn't understand anything. She's a receptionist. Tone it down, honey.
Like, get the
see the
fuck out.
records. I can look online and I can see how much everybody's making. I can't see that right now. I have no way to see that. So how is that accommodated?
Sorry, I can't help you with that respect. You have to talk to him.
So there are no records here at this office.
I have no clue.
You have no clue.
No clue.
That is
So
correct.
you're the person, I just want to be clear, because this is a legal filing related to his appointment order in this case, and it says that it's this address, and he is posting in the courthouse that he is using this address on his appointment orders and everything else. And so that means that I'm entitled to come in and see these records, and they're not here.
I'm not sure that you're entitled to see anything.
No, he's not.
I'm not familiar with this particular provision, but based upon your actions and the way you comport yourself, I doubt that you're right about anything that you say.
You are correct, Mikey.
You have his email address, you can send him.
I have emailed him. He hasn't called me back. So what's the procedure if somebody has a problem here and he needs, how are you going to get him that?
I'm just going to leave it. Whenever he comes, he'll pick it up.
So he just floats in and out, and I have no way to get records or see him?
And neither do I know.
Yes, do you get the concept? He rents space there. Under the circumstances, he's not in very often, but he does receive mail there, and once in a while he goes by and collects it. She has nothing to do with it other than placing things for him in the right place. That's it. She doesn't know about the California Code. She doesn't know about his comings and goings. She is not his direct employee. I don't know what's difficult about this.
When he's going to come in, I'll go.
Okay. Do you leave him messages?
I can, if you have his email, you can send him a message saying that.
I have done that. He doesn't respond, and he's in violation of the law. What he's doing right now is illegal, and so I am trying to.
I can't help you in that. All I can do is.
Can you call him? Can you call him?
No, I cannot call him.
You don't have a phone number to call him?
I don't call him. I just leave messages for him. I leave things, let me see, all his mail is there.
So
if he comes on the weekend, he'll collect it.
Oh, so if he pops in on the weekend, he'll collect his mail. And so he used to be on the Alameda, and he used to conduct private judge hearings there. Does he not conduct them here now?
I have no clue, like I said.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'd like to get a copy.
What is your name?
My name is Susan Bassey.
Can you leave me your...
I don't have a card on me. I'd be happy to give you my information.
If you can write it here,
I have a broken hand. Cops broke it in the file room while I was researching Michael Smith's cases.
Nothing she says has any credibility, so that may or may not have occurred. I don't know.
It probably hasn't.
It just sounds like a dramatic
I'm assuming
story.
very much it hasn't.
But given her activities, I could actually imagine it happening.
So
okay.
I can tell you my information.
No,
He
you
knows
can't.
it too. You can just give him my name. He'll know it. I give it to him every time I email him.
So you're an idiot. Got it.
Okay, so we have an office share arrangement, and a whole bunch of attorneys
Are using that office.
are in there. Okay, and they're just all doing the same thing. They have a phone, probably they have a desk, and they pick up mail. But they're primarily working from home under the circumstances. And she's going through like it's some great get to just get the cards of all the people who randomly are in the same office space, who we may or may not even know.
You might just let him know that we were here.
We're taking all these cards for.
Why am I taking them? Because this is essentially a courthouse. And I want to know what lawyers are in this.
No, it's not a courthouse. It's an office space.
Because I'm willing to bet that at no point did Mr. Smith disclose that he has relationships with all of these attorneys. And he's...
how do you know he has relationships with all those attorneys?
Yeah, do you want to get arrested?
And who's he supposed to disclose them to? If he's supposed to disclose them in his capacity as a private judge, I'm sure he's done so. Well, I'm not sure, but I'm guessing he's done that. I don't think he needs to disclose them to you specifically.
No, he doesn't.
If you've made a request that hasn't been answered and you feel like he's not doing that, which is what you're saying, file an action.
He's appearing in reciprocal private judging cases with all of them, and he's making a lot of money, and he recently converted
if I can make a lot of money, I'll do
cryptocurrency
too.
account for his fees, and he has a paralegal. So where does Margie Russo work?
Oh,
Probably at his real office.
Just don't believe a word that's coming out of her mouth. But her claim now is that he's converted a cryptocurrency account. I don't even know what she means by that. I'm familiar with all of the terms, but I don't even really get what this allegation is, number one. Number two, if he did, which I highly doubt, I don't know that he can't. Like, you're just making wild accusations with no basis whatsoever to a receptionist.
Does she work here?
She probably comes in once in a way.
Margie Russo comes in once in a while? So when Margie Russo directed somebody and prepared paperwork related to DVRO, would Margie Russo have been here when she gave it?
I'm sorry, I cannot tell you anything because I don't know.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I don't think you appreciate it very much.
That really puts me in mind of Bear's Law, where they go and just dump a whole pile of crazy on some clerical staff somewhere that has no way to know or to respond to their stuff. They just say things that probably don't make any sense. The reason why this guy's not emailing her back is because he doesn't need to, and he knows it, is my overwhelming suspicion. Apparently there's some private judge scenario that's allowed. It looks like she's showing an order. It looks like a circuit court judge in California.
Just so you know, Mike, I'll fill it in for you. Basically, to help the overflow of cases there, if it is very specific, very much between, like, say, two businesses, certain dollar amounts only type situation, it can then, if both sides agree to, go to a private deal rather than having to clog up the legal system there in California. That is what this is.
Appointed this guy a private judge. We don't have such a thing in Illinois that I'm aware of, at least not that I've bumped into. We do have things where people go to arbitration, which is effectively the same thing. We just call them arbitrators. And the parties can agree to go to an arbitrator to settle something. I don't know if that's this or if it's a specific statutory scheme. It wouldn't shock me if such a thing exists. But it's just hilarious. She's trying to do all this stuff with someone who just wouldn't know anything about it.
Snacks. It's snacks.
Could you have a seat?
Bear's Law was obsessed
Sure.
with Mike as well.
Just call the owner of the building and tell her what you're doing?
That'd be great. There's the big conference room. Oh, look, they can write
Oh, she's uncovered a conspiracy. An office space full of attorneys has a conference room.
Oh my God.
Yep. That's going to happen in an office space full of attorneys, because sometimes you have to have a deposition or a meeting or something. So you're going to have rooms like that. Woo, you caught them.
Exhibits up there.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of stuff.
Hi there.
Please leave.
This is a public courthouse by notice. Are you telling me to leave?
Yes.
What is your name?
Please leave.
I need your name.
Please leave.
I need to know.
Please leave.
This is a public courthouse.
Please leave.
Michael Smith is
Please
a
leave.
private judge. What is your
It's not a public courthouse. It's a private office space. You also, by the way, if you were in a public courthouse, go ahead and try this. Go ahead and try to barge back into chambers. In Cook County, in the building I'm in, the Daly Center, the chambers are all behind the courtrooms, especially in law division where I spend the most time. And so you walk through the court and in the back. That's a typical sort of arrangement. Go ahead and try to barge back there uninvited or with no business and see what happens. Just because it happens to be in the Cook County courthouse, it doesn't mean you won't get kicked out. You'll get kicked out and you'll have cuffs on when it happens.
name?
Please leave. Would you call 911?
Yes, please do. Please do. I'll wait for the police.
Would you please
I have.
You see, this is where I was confused. She is so Karen and just over the top and not getting it, and just a mess that way. And then this right here just looks like a straight 1A audit that's going on. So I didn't even know how to classify this, but I went Karen. I just had to make an executive decision.
Court documents. That's fine. I'll wait right here. Oh, closing the courthouse. The paid courthouse. We're waiting for the police now, I guess.
Yeah,
Here we go.
we're waiting for them to kick your ass the fuck out.
Okay, so when I was at the courthouse on June 3rd, I ran into a woman who was telling me that she was in private judgment. And she said she had seen my videos, but she was excited because she knew that I'd been talking about these private judges not being on a list. And so she and I went and we checked, and her private judge and her case were on the list. So we thought that everything was going to be good because we had transparency with that. So then I got her appointment order for Judge Michael Smith. And in this appointment order, what happens is two people agree that they can use a private attorney to be their judge. They agreed to pay $600 an hour to him. And when he signed that he took his oath and said that he would be a judge, he would follow the Constitution.
This just looks like they have a statutory scheme to refer for a mediation or arbitration.
Pretty close.
And in that sense, it's very similar to Cook County. Parties can agree to have their dispute mediated or arbitrated by a private party whenever they feel like it, in this civil context. So it just looks like that's the procedure they have. She has this accusatory tone. Really, I don't see anything wrong with this.
There is nothing wrong with that.
Which he signed at this address, located right here. That made this become a public courthouse.
No, it didn't necessarily make that become a public courthouse. One of the prime reasons why you would choose to have your case mediated or arbitrated, or in California, apparently, under this provision, they call it a private judge. One of the prime motivators would be to reduce publicity and have things private instead. And under the right circumstances, that may be completely appropriate.
So the law says that we're entitled to get into that courthouse, and we're entitled.
Show me. I don't believe you.
To see the records related to this case.
No.
And in this case, I saw in the public file that there were filings that he was paying himself out of cryptocurrency.
Oh,
he literally made them cash in cryptocurrency account. He took the woman who was on a fee waiver.
Oh, what's wrong with that? Maybe this is out near Silicon Valley. Maybe somebody has a bunch of cryptocurrency and he wants his and he said I can pay in cryptocurrency, and this guy decided to accept that as a form of payment. Tell me what's wrong with that.
Meaning she was indigent. She had lost her attorney, and he cashed in a cryptocurrency account to pay his fees, leaving them with the tax liability for that. So this right here.
I don't even even follow you. Leaving who with the tax liability for that? If he was paid, he has income, he has to report it to the IRS. If you've got any information on that, go ahead. But apparently you have the information, so it's known. If you can find it out, the IRS certainly can find it out, and he should be taxed under current law. You haven't uncovered anything here.
When he took his oath, he signed that he would swear to uphold the Constitution of the United States and all laws, state and federal rules. That includes giving me access to records in that case, and he didn't.
Show me. I don't believe that. I don't believe
None of us believe
there's
that,
any
Mikey.
provision saying that you have access to this attorney's private office space.
Do it. And just now, you can see what happened when at 2 o'clock on a Monday afternoon, we tried to access this building. I had also done a public record.
You walked in and made a jerk out of yourself, and then they asked you to leave because you wouldn't stop. I'm not shocked, only that it took as long as it did.
Request, which was denied. And we also noticed that on this appointment order, that a Judge Adams signed the appointment order because when two parties agree that an attorney can be privately paid to be a judge, you need a public elected judge to sign off.
Well, you need a judge because it's pending in that court, so they need to be aware of it. I'm guessing, and she's sitting there leafing through this as if it's demonstrative of something. It's not, but she's saying here's the procedure, and then proceeds to say they're following it. Oh, okay.
We started to notice there is this Judge Adams signing off on these orders for cases that are not before him. This case was assigned to Judge.
That could be the judge in charge of that division. It could be a judge that just handles that. You might have a motion judge and a trial judge. There are a million reasons why that could be. If he's a duly appointed judge or elected in that county and he has authority to do so, I don't see why there's a problem. It doesn't necessarily have to be from that judge. It's how they would set up their court rules. That's very local stuff.
Judge Cindy Hendrickson, but Judge Adams signed the order. And he signed it a month before Michael Smith agreed to do everything.
Yeah, he's not going to agree to do it before he's appointed.
Correct. I wouldn't. I don't think you would, Mikey.
Oh, Lord. She just has a fundamental misunderstanding of all law at every level, much like Ronnie Lee Davis. And then just
the Bears
poses everything as a conspiracy theory. Yeah, it's fantastic.
So you tell me in the public court file why there is a private judge getting paid $600 an hour with offices I can't access, no records that the...
Because
you don't need
that's
to.
the order that was entered, and apparently the parties had to agree to it to be entered. And you don't have access to somebody's private office space. These are easy. I can keep going all day.
The law says I can access, and he signs his order in...
You keep saying the law says you can access it. First of all, you're calling it a courthouse, which it's not. Second of all, show me a provision that says you have access to his private office space. I would be shocked if that exists.
April of 2021, and a public court judge approves the order a month earlier. There are all kinds of irregularities. There are issues with Michael Smith.
There might be, but you haven't pointed one out yet.
Smith reportedly covering up cash and gold coin issues with other attorneys. And what we're finding is that Silicon Valley people who are very wealthy can hire an attorney to play judge and get them out of committing crimes. That's what it's starting to appear like.
Maybe, but again, you haven't even alleged that yet. I don't know what you're saying. It sounds like this is a family court thing, and there are no crimes involved. You have nothing to back up what you're saying.
And it also appears they're not noticing the hearings that they're conducting. There's no public notice of that, so I can't get the transcript.
There may not be any need for public notice if they've decided to proceed in this manner. The answer may just be they don't have to have public notice, and that's why they chose to do it this way.
That's why they choose that option.
And the attorneys tell you that this will be private. The law says it's not private. And so that's where we are right now. We have done everything to get access, and it appears that Silicon Valley, over the last 10 years, has privatized the family courts. When we discovered that private attorney Michael Smith was getting domestic violence restraining order cases in front of him, we knew that there was probably something going on that we needed to investigate. Because
why?
Because they're an
that
idiot.
would be a common allegation in that scenario. That stuff is going to come up for a lot of reasons. A, it happens, and B, people like to use it as leverage in that type of scenario. So these sorts of things come up commonly in this. So once again, you haven't uncovered anything. That's just a common issue in this type of law.
Domestic violence cases add a great deal of money to a divorce case. You can also see people removed from their homes and stripped of custody of their children. We're getting mad about this kind of issue. So you guys are doing your job. I think a lot of people don't understand what that job is, and I want to make sure that they do.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, what is your name?
Officer Pang.
Pang, and badge number.
12263.
Okay, and I'll get an incident report. Yep. Just trying to teach people how to do this because there's a lot of private judging cases. Okay?
Thank you.
And you guys are going to be on my YouTube channel.
Good, then you better pay me.
Perfect.
That's my name.
Great. Thank you. I got it.
Wow, that was a crazy one. I'm not familiar with
Mikey.
the particular statutory scheme in California, but I can imagine one where they would farm out these disputes by agreement of the parties to make it faster and quieter.
You got it perfect
So
there, Mikey.
I would imagine that there is a provision that's doing that. She just rants and has an accusatory tone, but has not shown anything that is actually wrong.
No.
I'm not saying these people are perfect or they never do anything wrong. Maybe they did, but I haven't been convinced that anything has gone wrong yet. Here at Law Talk,
That's because as they say, Mikey, nothing has gone wrong. And with that, we will leave the afternoon session to a close. Come on back tonight. I swear we'll have a good soft sit for everybody. Till then, thanks for watching from day one. Have a great afternoon again. We'll see you tonight.